noticed when you go into the banks more recently, if you can get into a bank or indeed find a bank that's still open, they're always asking you, aren't they, about, what do you want to do with any savings that you have? Those few meagre pounds that we've got left after this cost of living crisis. Trust me, you're not alone in that. But what I find fascinating is every single week we get a brand new list of more banks closing, leaving communities without any opportunity at all to do any personal banking, pay any checks in, get some cash out. They're pushing ahead, making sure that you and I simply can't have an easy life. All the while sticking up posters inside the banks, basically saying, join us online. Wow, how personal is that? Must let you into a bit of a secret. At my bank here in London, they've started to put out biscuits at the front of the queue. One can only surmise, given the fact that you have to wait so long now to be served, perhaps you're going to get a sugar drop, and maybe that will bring you round quick enough just to do the transaction at the counter. But here, when you talk to the staff, they really are quite stupid in many respects, because they tell you exactly what we can expect further down the line. After all, there's no loyalty from them because they know eventually they're going to be fired and losing their jobs. Many think they're going to be promised jobs online. It's simply not going to happen. So in case you didn't know, so far, not just here in the United Kingdom, but it's spreading around the world, as all banks are actually linked together in many various company forms. They're going to be closing many more banks in the next 2 years, to the point where literally there'll be virtually no banks on the high street. And then to rev it up to make it even more difficult, what they're planning to do is to start to charge you to use the ATM machine, the automatic cash machine. Now, over here in the United Kingdom, you'll see these signs that say free cash. We don't charge you for taking the cash out. But as they close the bank, they will now incur a charge simply because, as they pointed out to me, they're going to have to send staff to fill up the cash point machine. And that's going to cost, and that cost is going to be put onto you. So even if you want to use cash, simply you won't be allowed to. You'll be forced to use your card or indeed incur yet another charge. You see how this works now. Of course, when you reach out to your local bank, as I did, and ask how true are these stories, they simply lie to you and deny it. Doesn't matter who you are or how much savings you have. I would say my advice would simply be this: is next time you go to your local bank and they basically say, would you like to invest in this? You could get a higher rate of interest in that. Simply don't do it. It's not in your interest. You're not receiving any service whatsoever from these banks. And I speak as someone working as a professional journalist. When I put a call into the media centre for the National Westminster Bank over here, I was told that basically they only deal with urgent inquiries, even though I was asking basic questions about how their business operates. The same could be said also for Santander and Barclays. So on the other side of the coin, when you do, as I say, get into the bank, they try and be nice and say, have you thought about this particular savings account, an ISA, this, that, and the other? It's not for your benefit. It's simply to keep them cash rich. All the while, you cannot get at your own personal cash, because every single week they're closing more and more banks down. And more importantly, even now starting to charge you for the privilege of drawing out your own cash in your own time, literally sometimes under pouring rain. And where's the service in that? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.